Hey, it's Mike, and yeah, I just want to welcome you to our show once again. I actually have two incredible guests with us, Mike and Luke. They're with HOPER to discuss really a program that they introduced me to a few weeks back now, and incredibly interested with this program and kind of what it entails, how it can benefit first-time homebuyers. As someone who is always concerned with budgeting and making sure that clients are not just house rich, cash poor, and have a safety account or emergency account. This is one of those programs that can help establish that for a multitude of reasons. So, Mike, Luke, how are you guys?
Good. How are you?
Good, good, good.
On.
So, yeah, let's share the slide deck just so we can share kind of this material here, and that way we could take a peek. What's going on? So, okay, let me move me over here, or us, should I say? And let's see. Can you guys see that? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. So without further ado, this is this program. We're calling it our Eco Home, but it's through Hopper. And now this is a better path to home ownership. Without further ado, Luke, Mike, I'd like to hand it over to you guys and just kind of explain this program for us.
Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it says on this first slide, this is absolutely a better path to home ownership. This is going to be for any FHA home buyer. And this is going to be a program that is different than any other down payment assistance you've ever seen because all of the funds that you're going to earn through this program, none of them have to be given back, paid back. There's no second loans, no strings attached. This is actual earned income that we pay you just for your participation in this program. And really, there's three simple steps, and we're going to cover those three simple steps and ultimately show you how you can take this better path and make money while you are going to be moving into your home. I'm going to have Mike kind of go over the first step here and show you guys how we can get this process started if you want to enroll in this program.
All right. So the first step is really for many new homeowners find themselves with little to no savings after purchasing a home. And because of that, they're most likely to default on their mortgage first couple of years. So really the first step is with little education, it puts savings in their pocket through your guys' program, right? The Hopper goal is to essentially improve the homeowner's ability to keep their home and build long-term wealth through education, advocacy, and research. Attainable Housing Advocates is proud to administer the Hopper Research Project to help bridge that gap, which is why I'm so stoked about this particular program. And it's really to assist them with the program, as you mentioned, with FHA home loans, and those are first-time home buyers. So here is kind of the data, and I'd love to have you share kind of this information, if that's okay, kind of why. And I know you were going over this graph when we spoke some time ago. Just want to see if you could unpack that a bit for us as well.
Right? Yeah, Mike Kukuk, you want to go over that?
Yeah, 100%. So this is kind of the why we do what we do. This is all a research project, and this graph is going to show a little bit about the goal. So this orange is your buyer's savings account. So we want you guys as buyers to save as much money as possible. We want this orange line going as high as possible. At the same time, we want this blue line going down almost as low as we can. This first stat says as of December 2023, 78% of United States adults live paycheck to paycheck. If we can eliminate that and get rid of that, then if through the money that we're giving, your savings rate's going to go up and this blue line's going to go down. You won't have to worry about defaulting on your loan within that first couple of years buying a home. We don't want after you buying a home and you've used all of your life savings for closing costs and realtor fees and all this stuff, down payment. We don't want that in case of an emergency, you to not have any money. We want to assure that you have savings after closing on a home and you still feel comfortable financially.
A huge thing that second, or I'm sorry, that third bullet point is huge. It's a statistic that I've looked at a few times as well as the average household liquid savings, right? Your safety account, right? Your emergency account. They don't have 3 months worth of whatever their monthly expenditures are until year five. And that's huge. And that's just the PITI, meaning that's just the mortgage payment. That doesn't include everything else that happens. Lord forbid something were to happen to someone. I usually tell folks, don't be house rich, cash poor. Don't go back to living on ready packs of salad and top ramen, right? Like this idea that like you need to have a sufficient amount. If something were to happen to the property, you could take care of that. If something needs repair, you could take care of that. If something were to happen to one of the individuals, let's say they couldn't work, what can you do to carry, the payment at least for at least a couple of months till you figure something out. So I think that's huge, and that's why I think this program is just great for those reasons alone. So I guess the question then for this is kind of your next slide is how does Hoper sustain home ownership? So that's that three-pronged approach that you guys had mentioned, right? So would love to, yeah, can you take us through this?
Yeah, 100%. So the three-prong approach is the pre-closing education, post-closing financial mentorship, and third is ongoing renewable energy savings. So this first one is a 4 to 6 hour online education course. It's completely self-paced. You can finish it in a day or a week as long as it's finished before closing. This one's going to teach you a little bit about your mortgage and a little bit more about the payments you're about to be making. That way you feel confident going into closing on your home
Yeah.
and you feel ready to make these purchases with this large chunk of money. Once you finish this course, you get a certification, you send that to a HOPER rep, and at that point, we can fund the 3.5% of your home purchase price up to $13,000. Now, that money can be used towards closing costs, debt payoff, down payment, realtor fees, appraisal shortages. The list goes on, and you can work with Mike or anyone to see what's the most beneficial payment with that money. Second one is the post-closing financial mentorship course. This one's about 9 hours, and you have up to a year after closing on your home to finish it. So you could do an hour a week, hour a month, take your time on it, but it's a really beneficial course. And it's, again, just going to get you prepped for that federal tax credit the following year. Luke's going to touch on that a little bit. But that again is just to educate you and make sure that when you get that second windfall of cash, you're ready to make a smart purchase, and you feel confident going into that next chunk of money coming in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I recently bought a home, and these education courses, whether or not you want to, you're gonna have to do some education on what it takes to buy a home and go through all of this process anyway. So, might as well get paid for it, right? Um, so really, these are great courses. They'll teach you how to budget, how to grow that savings, and ultimately teach you what to do with this money that you're going to be paid for taking this program. Um, and these funds that you're going to get, they can really be used for anything. So if you're a buyer and you've got the money for a down payment, you've got everything you need to move into your home, you can use our funds to just buy down your rate, or simply just put it into your savings account. Nothing like having 13 grand hit the bank, right?
Right.
It's a great option for any FHA buyer. Now, this third piece to the program is honestly my favorite because it provides an additional ten to $12,000, sometimes even more, that's going to be paid to you the following year through the federal tax credit that will be available to you through these renewable energy savings. Now, the way that this will be paid out to you is each participant, when they participate in our program, while they're participating in that education, they're going to get a solar assessment on their home to guarantee them additional savings. So not only are you getting paid these funds, but you're also going to have the opportunity to get a solar system put onto your home to help with those day-to-day utility costs that are also coming with the home that, we all have to pay, we all have to feel. So, you're going to get your electric bill covered and you're not going to have to come out of pocket for the solar system being added onto the home. We're actually able to roll any cost that you would have paid on the solar system into your original home loan. Now, with that being said, you completely own these panels. Everything's done from the beginning outright. You've got no other loans, no other separate solar payments, and we ensure that you are actually saving money by using our program. So, ultimately, just a great opportunity for you to not only receive those benefits, but put more cash in your pocket.
It's a great opportunity. I mean, having the credit through tax return on that as well. It does go by tax bracket, of course, talk to your CPA is what we always say. But when you purchase property, you always have that benefit. Now, if you have this as well, this ends up, just being that much more. And of course, with utility costs, as we see through Northern California with PG&E, we have Edison, of course, and San Diego Gas and Electric in Southern California. It's expensive, and so I think that in itself is pretty incredible. So yeah, big fan personally. Um, so yeah, how our participants are paid, learn it to earn it. Um, Mike, can you unpack this for us?
Yeah, this is a little bit of what we talked about previously regarding the pre-closing education and the post-closing.
Mm,
Um, but the Hope for Homeownership research projects study the impact that pre-closing home buyer education, post-closing financial mentorship, and long-term energy savings will have on life and loan performance of home buyers.
yeah,
So that's going back to that graph that we looked at
yeah,
um, in the research side of this program.
yeah,
As
that's
we
back
want,
here.
yeah, we
Yeah.
want this orange line, that savings rates going up, and the blue line going down.
That's
Um,
awesome. It's a
yeah,
huge benefit. I mean, I think that this thing, just for that reason itself, is just pretty incredible, right? So I know you had a sample income documentation. Really, it looks like this is more for us when we kind of work through the application, but then it actually shows the client their earnings statement as well, right? So it kind of gives a breakdown of what things would look like from, HOPER is especially as it pertains towards the personal savings club account statement. So they actually established an account with you guys, I'm assuming, and it sets these funds aside. Is that how that works?
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
Okay.
a we call it a personal savings club account. It's under your buyer's name,
Okay.
and it's kind of like a savings account with rules. We just want to make sure that your buyer's making a good purchase with it. We talked about that list and more
Yeah.
things that they can do with it. We just want to avoid your buyer taking the money and run into the casino or
Yeah.
doing something that's not actually going to help them financially.
Got it.
Yeah,
Got it.
and anybody that's looking to buy a home, you can work with Mike here when you're, going throughout the loan process. And Mike's going to be able to give you recommendations of what you can actually do with this money. The Savings Club account is just to ensure that we have a place to put those funds where they're going to be protected for your use. Now, on the next slide here, you'll see some of the most common examples that people actually use these funds.
Mhm.
Uh, you know, Even though a lot of people use it for a down payment, it's not a down payment assistance program because these funds are versatile. So you can cover closing costs, rate buy down, debt payoff. If you've got a car payment that's
Yeah.
stopping you from getting into a home,
Yeah.
especially with rates nowadays, take our funds and go pay off that car, get that debt down and then get into your home that you've always wanted to. So it's great. And again, Mike here, he'll take care of you throughout the loan process. He'll be able to give you those recommendations that will help you out.
Yeah,
So
I mean, that's a big thing that what I do. And I think really any loan officer, I mean, if we have loan officers listening, to this, should be doing is going through a full analysis and wealth breakdown for any one of your clients to look at what you could do to leverage to help your clients financially and improve their situation. If there's credit card debt, what can we do to, maybe eliminate that credit card debt? Keep in mind also, often with credit card debt, if you're able to get rid of the credit card debt, right? It, credit scores generally can go up. So it does help actually their credit viability as well and their ability to pursue new lines of credit or just credit good standing, right? Having a good standing credit score, I think, is imperative and making sure to manage finances properly. So those are all things that we really like to go through. How to leverage things like real estate or investments or to invest, I think is huge. So I think there's a lot of good in this that can be done, which is pretty cool, where it's not just towards the property, like most of our down payment assistance programs, both within the state and nationally, over being able to pay off debt at closing, I think is incredible, and I think that's a huge benefit in itself.
yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. Um, Now, the next slide here, Mike, that we'll touch on is how this program is made possible.
Yeah.
Now, ultimately, we operate within the guidelines of your loan. So, this is all done through the FHA Solar and Wind policy, and that's ultimately how we're able to pay you out these funds and you're able to get access to those savings. So, this has got a couple other details on that course. But again, we're happy to answer any questions and walk through any details if needed. Um, but I think the rest of the slides here will be touching on for loan officers in specific.
Yeah,
So
I mean, we have some of this right lender and agent feedback. Obviously, a lot of folks like it for the reasons that we already mentioned. Agents like it, real estate agents, because it does allow for fully owned solar system, not second lien filings. I like it for that reason as well. Not having a second loan when you purchase a property or you have a buyer looking to purchase property, having solar on it, that whole transfer can be difficult at times. Leases, they can be expensive. They can get costly. So this, is a huge benefit in itself. And of course, with buyers, right, you get that second windfall of at tax time when you go to file your taxes. That benefit that comes with a green credit there, I think, is huge. And there's really a lot of great things I think that go along with this that really are not just for lender realtors you had mentioned, but just good footnotes for us to remember as we do this, because this is available, as you mentioned, throughout several states where I am in California. And there's quite a few benefits here really for anybody, I think. Which is why, of course, there's your map, the orange map, or those eligible states that you guys had, right? So we're in the Western states with the main focus, again, of what I do in California. So California is approved for this program, which is fantastic. And then, of course, this is where I know we're going to wrap up here, and it's basically spread the word and let other folks know about this fantastic program. And then there are resources available. So I have some resources. I have some data that you guys had shared with me that I could share with other folks. And yeah, I think, basically we're here. That's Joe and myself at the end of this slide, but let's maybe end this presentation real quick and just kind of open it up, man. I mean, I guess, how did you guys get started with this program, and kind of what are you seeing in the market with this program? I guess would be two questions that I'd have off the bat for you guys as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Luke, can we get started?
Yeah, absolutely. So, a good friend of mine reached out. I was actually I'm really close friends with a loan officer, and we were just catching up one day, and they were explaining some of the details about this is a program that can change people's lives, and this was back before I was able to even use the program.
Yeah,
So I didn't have the opportunity to use it, unfortunately, but. When I was catching up with them, they were just kind of explaining how, as a loan officer, this has been huge for them and their clients, really helping them.
yeah,
And just through our conversation, it actually ended up to me leaving my previous job and switching over to start working here just because the mission's so powerful.
yeah,
And it's a program that really doesn't have strings attached. There's not a lot of programs where you can earn funds that will be held for up to a year. So even if you just want to even, get started on the process,
yeah,
but you're not sure where your home's going to be, I mean, those funds can be held for up to a year.
yeah.
And ultimately, like that's kind of what brought me to where I am today with this program and with this organization, is because it's led by great people who have experience in the industry, who've been doing this for over 30 years. And to be able to follow them and to start this new mission and to help home buyers, I mean, what else could you ask for,
100%. Mikey,
Yeah,
what about you?
100%. Luke actually came to me with this job opportunity. So Luke and I met a few years ago, and he talked about the job opportunity that he was thinking about it. And at the time, I was going to college here in Utah, wasn't loving it. I was working at a little t-shirt print shop, again, wasn't loving it. And I knew at some point that I wanted to turn to the housing industry. Didn't know if that was real estate or home building, but I wanted to kind of get my foot in the door, understand a little bit more about it. So Luke came to me with this offer, and I loved just we were at his house, and he would just teach me more about what he was learning,
Yeah,
and I love that whole process.
yeah,
The company actually invited me to the sales kickoff at the beginning of the year, where I was able to learn a lot more about the program and hear a lot of the stats. And one thing that really helped me really just lock it in and say I want to do this is the stats about how many families and individuals they were helping get in homes,
it's a blessing.
even
Yeah,
in just the last 4 months of the year.
that's
There was,
huge. So how long has this program been around, man?
I think about, Luke, correct me if I'm wrong, but since last January, I think we rolled out.
Wow.
Yeah, January 2024 is when we really have started to explode. But we've been developing this program for over 2 years. It's been amazing, just taking certain things and adding to it to make sure that ultimately it's the best experience for any home buyer.
It's
Mhm.
incredible. And so how many folks have you guys been able to help, and how many families have been able to bless with this program so far?
Um, I don't know if I've got an exact number, but thousands and thousands and thousands. I do know
Really?
that. Yeah, absolutely.
So do the funds run out once this program's done? Like, is there like an allocated amount of funds available through this particular program?
Nope.
Wow.
Mhm.
Okay. It's good to know.
Yeah, so yeah, we're funded at least for the next 10 years plus. So
Wow,
we've got a runway, that's for sure.
that's incredible. And how do where? I mean, can I ask, or do you guys know where the funding comes from on this thing?
Yeah, so our founder, his name is Jaron. He founded a company called Cascade Mortgage,
Yeah.
about 20, 25 years ago.
Okay.
Uh, he ended up selling it to private equity. And as you know, not hating on private equity, but things can get different when you've got, private equity as your boss. So
Yeah.
he ended up deciding to leave that company. And obviously, he took a good chunk of cash with him. And he wanted to do something great. He wanted to do something good. And so this has kind of become his passion project.
That's awesome.
So, as it stands right now, we've got private funding to help these home buyers obviously pay out those funds up front and everything like that,
Okay.
and different investors. But I do know that there are different ways that we're able to help replenish those uh, reserves for cash to keep this program
That's
going.
awesome. That's gonna be a big ask, I know, from people like, oh, does it run out? Because we had the California Dream for All program last two
Yeah.
years, and it was around each time for like 5 days. It was here, gone, right? So it's just funny because knowing funds don't run out on particular programs like this, I think is beneficial. And then how it's being used, I think is even more beneficial. Because you run into those clients that have a higher debt to income ratio because they're credit cards, but they're okay with the housing payment. But I mean, we're also in California where property taxes and you have income tax, and then you have your just sales tax, right? So we're taxed on everything in the state, unfortunately. With that, it just gets very hard to live, as you mentioned in one of these slides. So I think in there, if this program was readily available for those folks, doesn't run out, that's just a benefit for them, especially here in California. At $13,000, I mean, yeah, $300,000 purchase price, sure. But they look at a purchase price of something greater and they need the extra 13K. And I think a lot of folks can. It really blesses them. So that brings me another question, probably you guys get often. Can you work with another down payment assistance program on top of this, or is it just strictly to back the FHA program?
Yeah, absolutely. You can pair this with certain other down payment assistance programs. It honestly depends on which one. I wouldn't be able to name them. It's state by state, and it's also dependent on specific lenders.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
depending on who you're working with, that's honestly it's a case by case basis, but it is possible for sure.
That,
You'll just your loan officer.
that's great to know. It's great to know. All right. Well, gentlemen, thank you for the time. Thank you for the education. Definitely, I think this is a great program. I'm a huge advocate for this thing now. So thank you for bringing it to me, and definitely want to just thank you for taking the time to talk with me today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having us on, Mike. We appreciate it.
All right.
Absolutely. It's been great. Thank
All
you
right.
so much.
All right. Thanks, brother.